I prepared myself for the session. As you can see, there's a GitHub project that I named Trello. I suck at giving names. I kind of made sure that master is right where the blog post left. And I made two branches, one for WebSockets and another for, I think, MongoDB is the branch. I'm not sure. One of the others should be the one adding save to the database. I'm assuming, yep, it's the MongoDB. I guess I added add persistence and then forgot about it. So I have the code just in case, but I'm going to write everything from scratch with you guys. So you can see step by step, and we have as much time as we want. But I'm going to try and make it fit into the two hours that Codementor wrote on the invite. I would like to thank Codementor for the session and say that since I joined, I wrote a post to Codementor. I've seen many cool posts on the website, so I invite you all to go and check the website out. So to begin, I already ran the project. If you are going to clone the project, all you need to do is run npm install. That will also trigger Bower install, if I remember correctly. Post install. So installing the project will install your backend and front-end dependencies. And once everything is installed, you can run npm start. And it will run the node process. Alternatively, you can also go to server.js, right-click on run, and then it will simply run the process, or you can run node directly from the terminal in order to run the project. By running npm start, I also gain live reload and nodemon support. So I'm going to use this for a big time of the session. Okay, and before we start, if anyone has any questions, from time to time, the chat window will disappear. I am recording the session. I'm going to try and make this always on top. Cool. I hope I will see when you write to me over here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to add kind of collaborative feel to the project. We're going to implement it in a very simple way. Whoever just joined the session, please mute the microphone. Thank you very much. It's going to add a kind of collaborative feel to the project. The implementation is going to be very simple, but you will get the idea and how you can make it work even better than what I show. And then we're going to make it save to a database. So whenever you have a question, please unmute your microphone and ask or write in the chat. I will also give time for questions from now and then. Okay, WebSocket. So looking at the internet for a WebSocket project, we need to find one that plays nice with Node and Express on the backend side. And we need to find one that plays nice with Angular in the front-end side. So let's start with the backend. So I searched it the other day, and I think I arrived to this one. Not sure. Nope, I arrived to someone else. I arrived to something that was npm install ws. Let's check if it's this. Just making sure I'm looking at the right one. Let's add WebSockets. And the package I used was WS, right. So, okay, I don't know why it didn't pop up as the first result right now. It kind of popped up as the first result the other day. Let's find it, Node.js, WS. I think I actually searched, does it work well with Express? And I reached an issue that explains how to use it. So this is the project. And I'm trying to find a way to add a WebSocket to the project. None of these actually came to mind as fitting to my code right now. Because I have Express. Okay, so here is one. Does it work as I need it to work? Not necessarily. So let's find Node Express WebSocket. Does it work well with WebSockets? Okay, so I reached an issue here that actually gave a very good copy-paste example that I want you to see. Kind of wanted to reproduce the search, but that's not going to happen. Okay, so I think this was the issue that I found. And over here, I had exactly the code snippet that I wanted to have. So as you can see, the code snippet suggests to create a server from the app. App was instantiated from Express. And then to simply create a server for WebSocket and listen on the connection. Now, I'm not a big user of WebSockets. I haven't used those at work. I'm not absolutely sure how it's going to behave. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to try to make it fit to the project. So first of all, I have to install the library. So it was npm install ws. And that's going to save it to the package JSON as well. And in parallel, I'm going to add this here. So we already have app, and we already have all this stuff. I already have all the middlewares that I want. Does someone have a question? Okay, so just make sure that your microphones are mute. Thank you. And now I'm going to, let's mark this, create a WebSocket for the project. And so we need to bring HTTP here. And I'm using standard JS, so you will see me deleting the semicolons from now and then, just to make sure that the code is consistent. So we have a server. I'm pretty sure I have a duplicate name. OK, so let's call it WebSocket server, and then WebSocket server. OK, this looks like it should work on the backend. Now let's run this again. Actually, it should run AWS is not defined, and it crashed. So AWS is still undefined. This is the power component. This is the node modules. Let's make sure that it's here. It's here. So I'm guessing restart should work. Oh, I probably didn't. Yep, I didn't import WebSockets. OK. Yep, right. And everything works. So I'm not getting the connection log, and I'm assuming that's because I need something in the front end to connect. And we probably don't need this. And we're going to have the connection on a URL. So let's make sure it's something nice. Backend updates. Or let's call it, I don't know, events. Sounds cool. And now let's find something for Angular. So if I remember correctly, I chose ng WebSocket. How do I choose the libraries? It's just I'm trying to find a way to use them. And if by looking at the example code, I kind of understand, I feel good about it. So I usually choose that. I also look at the stars and forks and issues and when was the last commit, just to make sure that the project didn't die. So this one looked kind of fine. So I'm taking it. So let's search for our install. And let's install it and save to Bower.json. Even though Bower is kind of going away and people are starting to use NPM, I still like using it. I like the separation. So I decided to use it in the project. And I think we're going to go with number 2. I have a collision on the version for Angular. I'm not afraid about the WebSocket project using Angular 1.3 because I can't imagine anything changing since then. OK, the chat window kind of froze. I hope that you can hear me and that everything is fine. Nope, everything kind of froze, right? My computer kind of froze, I think. OK. OK, so did my computer just freeze? Could you hear me? Because things kind of died. Yep, OK. Sorry about that. Going back, so I'm installing the WebSocket, and now I'm going to use it. So far, so good. Let's copy this and go to the index.html. I decided not to use Grunt task to inject these, and so I don't see the effort in copy pasting these things. And let's copy this into my, as a model dependency into my app.js. So far, so good. And now I want to have a WebSocket. So since currently I only have one page with a controller, I will add it over here. And OK, so now I want to have a WebSocket. And usually I don't spend too much time about this, but just so you'd know, HTTP will translate to a WebSocket, and HTTPS will translate to a WebSocket SSL. So if you want to have like code that knows how to make everything work, it should look something like this. Let's try to construct it right now. We have window location. I think it's path. Nope. Wait. Path. Host maybe. Origin. Origin. OK, great. So we have the origin. And I think that if there's a port, and things kind of froze up again. OK. Whoever just joined the session, please mute the microphone. Thank you. Mute the microphone. Thank you very much. So if I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type the same thing, I guess I stopped the server. So we're going to see the port as well, which is good. This is what I want. OK, great. So I'm going to write something like window location origin replace HTTP with WS and replace HTTPS with WSS. OK, and now we're going to add backend events. And it should work, and it's cool. This code should support whatever port or protocol you're talking. What's next? So once it's open, we're going to emit something and on something. So the documentation here, I can tell you, is not great. I think I didn't find it eventually. OK, so it does exist here, but it doesn't exist in the code snippet, which is kind of a shame. But once you read it through, you get it to work. So OK, so we have on open, and now we want to have on message. And let's print out the arguments. And I think it should open a connection. It disconnected before the handshake. Why? I'm not absolutely sure. Can't. So we're definitely listening on port 3000. why is backend events not working? I had the same thing the other day. Good thing that I have all the codes somewhere ready. So let's try to find it out. So I'm switching to manual run. This is just, okay. This is how it works for me. So let's look at the projects again and try to figure out if I'm doing stuff correctly. So there's open, and then there was also connection. Okay, so let's have an open here. There's a connection, and then there's also open, right? Okay, so let's have on open, console log, opened. And I'm going to mute the Morgan logs, just a second. Okay, I don't need to comment that out. And we're going to start the process again. And I'm missing, okay, I'm missing something. And we're going to have to reload this. Oh, still not working. Okay, so nope, still not. So we're going to pop by my already prepared solution and try to figure out what went wrong here. We're going to create a pull request from a WebSocket from WebSocket to master. Okay, here's the new pull request. Thank you. And let's look at the diff, just a second. So we added the model over here, and we also have WebSocket over here, and we did all this. So I called it WebSocket over here, but it doesn't really matter. Looks like I did everything fine in the front end just now. And in the back end, let's try to find server.js. So I got WebSocket over here, and I created a server, and then I got on connection, and everything just worked. So let's check the code again. Because over here there's app listen, and I'm guessing this should be, and over here I have server listen. Maybe that was the difference. Okay, yep, let's try that. So we have the WebSocket, so let's make that go. Okay, and now we have the connection. It works. So let's move on back to over here. Now we should see that we have a connection. At least we're not supposed to see the error thrown. Thank God. Okay. So now we have a connection. And what I want to have is on open. Let's try to send a message from backend to frontend. So let's set interval. WS, I guess. Let's see how they did it. WS send. OK, let's send something. Hello. And make it run like this. And if we have an error, let's print it like so. Problem sending message from WebSocket. OK. The WebSocket has opened on the one hand, and on message function, console log arguments, we are not receiving this yet. So let's try to find out why. We can try and see the network on the WebSocket. Nothing seems to go through over there. So I'm checking the server again. And OK, obviously, that's one of the mistakes I usually do. I'm not seeing the print for opened, so I'm not reaching this code, which is strange. I was expecting to get to here, but I'm not. So let's try this. I'm getting the WebSocket over here, so I can just move the code right over here. I'm going to start it over. So I just want to make sure that I am sending WebSocket. Let's just make sure. Oh, and here we go. We have a message. Great. So it works. And I'm trying to figure out why I had to replace it. So I'm guessing that because I wrapped the original server with another one, I had to call listen on the wrapper. And I'm assuming it delegates stuff to the server, and it won't work the other way around. So it kind of makes sense. And now what I want to do next is to dispatch an event whenever a board has changed. And to dispatch an event in Node, I think that someone joined. Just mute the microphone, please.
Sorry.
That's fine. I'm kind of shocked that Zoom is not doing it by default. Still can hear the microphone.
Good morning. 1 sec, sorry.
OK, that's fine. Take the time. So I'm kind of happy that we see the message. I usually do a break at that stage. And now I want to dispatch an event. So in Node, there's something called event emitter. And since I am using, which node? 421. Am I using 421? Let me just check. Yes, I decided to use 421. So I can actually use syntax from ECMAScript 6. Please mute them at the microphone. Unless you have a question, and that's fine. OK. So the update to the board, I think, is non-existent at the moment. Let's just check the controllers. Oh, that's the front end, and nope. So there's no endpoint in the backend to update a board. So let's have one. Now you'll see me doing stuff. Maybe I didn't do that on the GitHub project. I do it from my practice. I like doing it this way. The namings and so on, it doesn't mean that you should. And it doesn't mean that if the project was bigger or with different people that I would still use the same thing. Okay, so now I want to create a router for boards. And I'm going to export the router. Let's not forget that. Been there. And we're going to want to have a post that actually kind of saves the board. So we're going to have post, and we're going to have backend boards. We currently have one board, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to send hi. And also, I want to print the body, because the new board is going to be saved on the body, to be sent on the body. So I'm going to do this. This is body. Always have a message on console log. You will not find where the console log is otherwise. So now we have a post, and we need to make sure that it works from the server. So let's go to server, and over here I added. Okay, so I have use require backend controllers, and I'm using boards. Since I only have one, that will do. And I have to keep my main, because it defines all the static resources. Maybe later, if if we have enough time, we will change the name. Just want to make sure that we make the goals. So we have now post endpoint in the backend. All that is left is to make use of it in the front end. So for Angular projects, to send data to the backend is usually done by a service. So I'm going to make a service called Trello Client. And I think my model is still named demo. And I'm going to Trello Client function. And we're going to need HTTP over here, and this update, right? And we're going to have board, and I want to have post. No, actually, I want to use the following syntax: method, post, URL, backend, boards, and the data is the board. For now, maybe we will want to change that later, but for now, I think it's fine. And now we want to send an update. So being as naive as possible, I will do the following: scope watch. So currently it's lists, so I'm going to watch lists for now. And whenever that changed, I want to call the Trello client, Trello client. And I think I did updates. So actually what I want to do is have boards update. Now that's nicer. If I ever want to update anything else, it would be nice. So boards, updates, scope lists. Let's add, please mute the microphone. Thank you. Updating the lists. Whoever just joined, please mute the microphone. Going once, going twice. Hello, mute the microphone, please. Can I mute someone's mic? Nope, I think not. Okay. Okay, great. So we were saving stuff, right? So on the one hand, we're going to have this. And Jira client, obviously, I don't have it on my index. So let's add it. And refresh. Updating the lists. Great. And if I add one more, nope, it's not updating the list. Why? Because whenever Angular does watch, it does it in a shallow way. So it will only notify me on pointer changes. So I'm going to add true to this. And while doing this, I can also see I'm getting a lot of errors right here. So why is that? That's because the WebSocket is actually closed. So we're going to try and figure out what's going on over here, right? I mean, if I have on close, maybe, let's check it out. Do I have such a thing? So node WebSocket was here. Close, unclose, and it should be fine. So I'm going to keep the pointer here, send message. And whenever the WebSocket disconnects, I want to cancel the interval. Does anyone remember how to cancel an interval? Anyone? Cancel interval. JavaScript. Clear interval. Okay, clear interval. Send a message. That should work. And the reason it opened more and more sockets is because I have live reload. So whenever I changed the code, it reloaded and then opened another socket. And then the backend had a lot of sockets being disconnected. So I'm updating, and I'm updating again, thanks to the deep watch. And what we're looking is, this is the body, and the body is undefined. Let's clear out the sending WebSocket. We don't need it anymore. And the process restarted again. And also live reload triggered for some reason. I need to tweak the watch files. So the body is empty, and that's because I never told Express to use the body parser. So I need to edit Express body parser. And I'm jumping ahead right over here. Just copy, paste, save, and moving forward using this and pasting one more thing. Use, do we have? Okay, so we're going to need JSON. So let's just do it over here. And yep, this is why the live reload is triggering on every change. I can probably make live reload trigger properly for later on. So now I added a middleware that will parse the body to a JSON and put a body property on the request as a JSON. So the process is starting again. And we should now see a body on the request. So we're updating and we have a list. So it works. So all that it is left in the first hour, 15 minutes to go, is to dispatch an event on every change. If you have a question, ask. If you don't, please mute the microphone. I understand that people are joining if it happens, so it's good. I'm over here, and for now, I want to save the board somewhere. So let's do something like this. Board request body. Our database is going to be the memory for now. And now I want to trigger an event. And let's send the board back, right? While we're here, before I'm dispatching an event, let's also do an endpoint to get the board. It sounds pretty logical, because what I want to do right next is to open two windows, one next to the other, and make a change in one and see the change affect the other one. So I have something like this. Press and board. Thank you, Node, for the simplicity. And I'm going to add the get to the client right after. I want to have an emitter right now. So we're going to have a board events emitter. You know what? Let's call it board events. Good. And let's pop onto Node event emitter documentation, because I never remember how it should go. And it goes something like this. So we need to copy these two. And I already configured my IntelliJ to work with the syntax. Just in case you need to do the same, languages and framework, you can also search for JavaScript. And then under languages and frameworks, you choose JavaScript. And then you choose ECMAScript 6. And then IntelliJ will understand the syntax. So what I want to do is to export an emitter, new emitter. And what I also want to do is export. I don't want to copy paste the string, which is the name of the event. So I'm going to have like a constant thing, board updated, board updated. Okay. Exports. Good. And I'm going to have an index.js right over here, just the way I like it. Board events, acquire board events. And my intention is that people will use it by doing the following thing. I want them to require services and board events. It will actually be a relative require. And I want them to use the emitter as a board events like this. And then board events on. And then board events, emitter on board events, board updated. And then data. And I'm not sure what the data will contain. We're going to check it in just a second. That's on the whoever listens. And the dispatcher should use it like so. So it's going to do the same require. And then board events, emitter, meet, events. Please mute the microphone or ask a question. Data. So this is exactly what I want to have on both things. So let's copy paste this. Board page controller. Oh, check that out. I edited in the wrong place. Funny. Services. Pluck. Sorry for the confusion. Whoever saw this and didn't write anything in the chat, please write in the chat next time that you see I do such a mistake. Okay, so now in the controller, I want to have board events require services board events. And whenever it changes, right, I want to have board events, emitter, emit, and then board events, board updated, and to send the new board. So, okay, he's telling me that the syntax is only allowed in strict mode, which means that I need to go here and write use strict, and that's it. And now I'm seeing the chat window freezing up every now and then, but I will speak as if it works. And if you missed whatever I said, please write in the chat. I'll probably see it once the window stops from freezing. So we emitted the event, and now in the server.js, right over here, we want to have something like, okay, so now I have kind of two options, right? I can write require and all that like over here, right? Board events, services, or backend board events. And then I can come here and do board events emitter on and so on. And I will actually register the event every time a WebSocket is opened. I'm going to do this for now because I don't want to miss the time. But on the GitHub, you will see I took a different approach. What I did, I'm just going to mention it, is maintain an array of WebSockets here. And then on every event, I loop over the array, and then I send the data. Now, I think you can choose whatever you want. Remove listener. So yeah, okay. You can also remove the listener. You know what? Fine, let's do that. Board events, emitter, no, not emitter, events, board updated. So now let's do dispatch, write message, data. And I'm going to have something like this. And to do over here, remove the listener. So let's do that. WebSocket send. And I already got to have an error a couple of days ago. I have to send a string. It doesn't know how to handle an object. It doesn't know how to stringify. So let's stringify the data. I also want to see what the data is. So this is data. Let's just see that we're actually sending what we think we're sending. And okay, so now we're going back here. Let's move it over here. Schlock. And move it over here. Schlock that as well. And it's loading. And okay, so this is the data. And I didn't see. Okay, here we go. Is this it? Yep, that's it. That's the new board coming up. So now that we have, and by the way, I said always write a message. You'll never know where the print is coming from. I'm preaching, but I'm not listening to myself. So so two things I can see. Where is it? Over here, got a message. I saw before the live reload that the message came as a JSON. So that's nice. And I also see that it's not open. Guess I still have a problem with disconnected. Okay, no, I have something else. I have an error being sent to me on post. That's kind of strange. But never mind that now. Let's move forward, and if I see a problem, I will fix it. So I'm getting the data here, and I want to keep it on the scope. So scope lists data. and it should be fine, generally. So now let's check out what is going on over here. Send. So let's just do like catch console error problem sending message a to string. And it's probably, okay, so it's probably because I didn't remove, right? I didn't remove the listener. So let's try that right now. Listener, great. When do I want to do that? I want to do that on disconnect. Close. Instead of clearing the interval. Great. And we don't need that anymore. And things should generally work. So let's just make sure that stuff work. Yay. And okay, so now there's like a very weird problem. You cannot really see it because you don't have a keyboard and you're not typing on it, but I can definitely feel it when I type. I kind of press like a G, then I press like H, and look how the G like disappears. Or I cannot click on H. So there are two things going on here, and it took me a while to figure it out. One, you can see that I'm losing focus on the ticket. So why is that? And the other thing is that apparently, I don't know why, but the Angular WebSocket library doesn't apply the scope. So I actually have to call like scope apply over here. I don't like doing it this way. What I like to do is to do something like this. And there are other ways you can async apply, I think. I don't remember. Angular async apply or something. Apply async. Eval, no, apply. So I just like to do it this way. This is how I know. Probably not the best way. But it works. And my focus right now is on making stuff work because, heck, I'm trying to write a very cool app from scratch. All I care is making it work. So the other reason, the other thing is that I'm losing the focus, right? And the reason this happens is because whenever I completely assign a new object to the scope, what happens is, that ngRepeat over here will repaint everything from scratch. So what actually happens once I type G and I get a new object from the backend, this is no longer the same input object from the DOM. It's a different one. And it wasn't focused, and so it looks like I lost the focus. The way to fix it is to add a track by, to tell Angular, don't repaint it, update. And actually, adding a track by to every ngRepeat is something that is just something that you should do. So I'm going to add it, and I'm currently using track by index. Maybe it's enough here. Maybe if the project is more mature, I will decide to have an ID and to track it by ID. It should work for now. and I don't see a reason to do anything else. So yeah, I still have like a leg, and that's exactly what I wanted to say, that there are a lot of updates. And so yeah, so what happens here is that thing is that I did a watch on lists. So whenever it changes, I update the backend. Now, if I type really fast, then I will have like a race condition. On the one hand, it will change from my typing. On the other hand, it will change because it gets messages from the WebSocket. So for now, we're going to solve it by debouncing the changes. And I like to have Lodash in my projects, in my front end and back end. I currently don't need it in my back end, so that's fine. And we're going to start, and we're going to add it to index.html. Power Lodash. This. Let's add the minified version. And what I want to do now is take this out of here. I want to have like update board. And I want to have like something similar to a lock. Lock, so it's going to be false at the beginning. And then update board is not locked, right? And then we have a then function locked false, and if not locked, update board. And over here, locked is true. So again, it's a very naive implementation, but it works. So let's use it. And let's make the debounce for half a second. Debounced update board. And debounced. So we have, I actually added two different mechanisms. One to wait between changes, and the other one is a lock, just to make sure that if like the backend took its time, that it will not send another request until the server finished. Now, what I do want to do is, if I didn't call the update, I want to trigger the debounce. I want it to fire again half a second later, kind of like a retry. So I'm going to do it this way. And now it should work nicer. And we should be able to see, cannot read then of undefined, Trello client. Right, let me return here. Just work. Yay, it works. Hello. How are you? Now it works, but well, first of all, that kind of marks our first hour ending. I'm going to allow to ask questions. Please have a question. And I'm going to just note before you ask something, this is a very naive implementation. It doesn't actually work in the real world, because what we're doing, we're overriding the entire board. which means if I actually had another person right here with me that was typing on the other window alongside, then it wouldn't work because we'd keep overriding one another. The way to make it work is to break down the update. Instead of, let's have a look, of watching the lists here, the entire model, what we should do is to have a different watch on every ticket and on every, for example, list, name list, and to break it down and so on. You can definitely do that. I didn't do that for the demo or in GitHub. And the more you break it down, the better the user experience will be. Questions, please, someone. I'm going to drink just a second and give you a chance to ask something. Don't know if you can see my face if it's not on the screen share. So just in case. Yes, the answer is yes. Socket.io is a web socket. I decided not to use Socket.io for the session, just for the fun of it, because I know Socket.io and I wanted to try something else. But Socket.io is a web socket and it would work just the same. I'm not sure that there's Socket.io client for other languages. So if your backend is in a different language, or if you want to have like a client written in another language to converse over the WebSocket with you, I don't know how will that play out. But definitely, if you have Socket.io in the backend and the front end, works fine. I have a coffee here, so. So if you don't have questions, there are some issues that need to be discussed. Please type a question whenever. The thing is that currently I have one backend. So the event firing will be fine because it's one process. But if ever I want to have more than one, then I have a problem, because I have two backends to overcome the massive load that my startup gained. Okay, I see. I'll address it in just a second. Okay, thank you. If you have more than one backend, it won't actually work. You can use sticky session, but still it just means that you will get your own updates. Doesn't mean that if someone else updated the board that you'll get it, because maybe the event fired on the other backend. I don't know exactly what I would do, but I can think of several solutions. One is to have a dedicated process for dispatching the events, just one. And instead of dispatching the event within the process, like we did with the event emitter, I would actually create a REST call to the process, and that single process will actually get all the updates. And all the WebSockets will be connected to that single process. So this is how you can at least partially make a load balancing for a lot of the requests, while the WebSockets will remain on one process. Another thing that I can think of is the way that you shard the requests when you load balance. You can do it in such a way that all the requests for the same board will reach the same backend. So that actually sounds better to me. That's probably what I would try. And then you make sure that at least changes on the same board will be received. There are other things I might consider. Okay, Redis is a nice suggestion by Alex. Okay, I never used Redis for that. I definitely try that. And there's also, I read something about Mongo events. So if you're updating the model in the database and you can have an event from Mongo, maybe that would work. But I actually like the Redis suggestion more. Okay, so now we're going to add a database. We want to keep the data because for now, even though these two windows can talk, let's move me away. Nope, move me away, thank you. And I think it's this one. Yep, maybe. Comments away. Okay, so even though these two windows can talk, whenever I reload the page, I will get like a reset. And just so you'd see, the reset over here just caused a reset over there. So basically, we, for now, did like a database in the memory. So first of all, let's use that one. But then whenever the process goes down, I will use the data. So once I have it working, we'll add Mongo as well. So Trello client, we have update, and now we're going to add get. Okay, I don't like using get because it's a keyword. I like to use read. It also fits with CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. So I don't have board here. Return HTTP method get. Let me just lower the temperature. And URL okay, so backend boards. I don't have data, and that's it. And now on the controller page, so instead of having lists, all I have to do is do something like this: Trello client boards read then function result scope lists result better. Now it should be relatively fine. Please mute the microphone. Thank you. Microphone, please mute. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm writing to Remy. Everyone, sorry about that. Remy, it was not a personal thing. To microphone. Okay, great. And yeah, that's actually how I write code when I'm at home. Every now and then a kid comes over, gives me a hug and a kiss, so I have to like make a context switch. So it's just the same experience. It's fine. Now it should at least make things a bit more persistent. It's still not smooth. If you just saw that I wrote 5 and it deleted it, again, once you break it down, it will work fine. Okay, great. And so I have that working, and now it's time to have Mongo up. So now for Mongo, you can use Mongoose. I personally like using MongoDB straight. So Node.js, MongoDB. So this is it. And anything interesting over here? Yep. So we will need this. I usually also separate it to a service. All my implementations right now are assuming stuff. Not of all are absolutely correct to assume. For example, I'm going to assume that my connection to Mongo will be open before the first call to the database. Which is not necessarily true. Another way to implement it would be to open the connection to the database and only then allow the server to get a request. And yet another way to implement it is to put it as a middleware on Express and then open a connection to the database once you have a request. You don't have to do it on every request. Once you've done it once, it's fine. So let's close node process on exit just for the fun of it. Yep. So I think it's something like process exit function flag if right? Okay. And now I actually want to do Trello live session. like this. And I want to make it possible to get it from the outside. So Mongo URL. This will make it easier for me to deploy it on Heroku later on if I want to, and so on. Usually when a project gets a bit bigger than that, I do something like load-merge from default configuration. This would be like default stuff, to require some dev.json, like process and const.json, and that would kind of cover me from all aspects, just one line of code. Isn't it like awesome? Node, you are the best. I'm going to leave it as a comment if you want to have a look at it. So URL, and then we're connecting, and console log connected to the database. And now what I want to do is export a collection, and it's going to get a string, just a small wrapper around the driver to make my life a bit more easy. So this is a callback, and DB collection string function L callback. And actually, I think, yep, let's see, air and collection, I think. So let's call back air, collection, and database. Maybe I'm wrapping it too much. Maybe it's enough to have callback here. I never remember that. Okay. Let's also return. Why not? And connection, so DB equals DB over here. Great. And what I want to do now is to have on the board controller, I'm going to have, I want to have like an object called board model. I usually separate it to a different file, but I don't want to do it right now. Maybe I'll just copy, cut, and paste the code to a different file in just a second. So I want to have like a class to represent the model for board. And I want to have like boards, and I want it to have find, right? There is only one, so board model. Collection. Let's ask for services exports. DB require. And services here. We can now continue refactoring to remove this if we want to. Okay. I actually think I don't think that you need to have like a callback, right? Yep. That's fine. So let's do it like that. Collection. Services. Service. Collection. Boards. how do I make sure that if I run it right now, I will get a null pointer exception. So let's forget about that for now. Let's not do like over design. Collection, find, I think they used to have like find one. I think they don't have it anymore. So like limit one to array function results if okay, so we will have a callback here. If callback error else callback. Okay, so let's do. I wonder what I technically want to do is find or create, right? Because I need to initialize the database in some way. So let's do find or create. And for the update soon. So this will be data and callback. Okay, great. So if result length is 0, right? Else callback. That would be null and result 0. And over here, so I want to create insert, I think. I think so. Let's check it out. No reference to insert. Okay, here we go. Insert bunch of documents. I'm guessing it works on a single one as well. Don't know why. Why are they only showing bunch? Don't know. And result. I'm guessing the result is whatever we inserted. Console log. After insert arguments. It's going to happen once, so that's fine. So we have find or create, which we think works. And we have collection update, I think. So the update to Mongo has to find the document to update, and then it has to update it. So, and the ID has to be object ID. So there's a little plumbing here to do the stuff. So let's do ID data ID, and let's have services DB services, a function to do that in my DB service, ID data, and I think a callback, console log, after update, arguments. Should work more or less, and callback, L result. I'm guessing it's L result. And did I call callback over here? Callback, guessing again, error and result. Just makes sense. And now all I have to do in order for this code to run is to have a function called ID. So object ID, do they actually show how to use it over here? From from hex string. Hello from hex string. Yay. Okay, so this is what I want. So if type of ID equals string, I return this, else I'm guessing it's guessing already object ID. And we need to require object ID. I saw it over here. Okay, here we go. Yep. Yay. And it works. The reason I like to wrap these sometimes is that when projects get big, you find that you usually have like stuff that you do over and over again, like have a list of IDs and convert the entire list to object IDs and so on. And maybe there's already a smarter way to do that. This is the way that I know last time I checked, which was a while ago. So go to Google and check it again. So yeah, it should kind of work, right? Now, get the board should be board model find or create. Exciting. If there's an error, status 500, send status error reason failed to find or create toString. Else red send result. Yay. Now we can easily check this right now. Actually, let's run it from here for now, because it's going to fail. Didn't fail. Awesome. Localhost or backend. Board. Okay, so something happened. Something actually didn't happen. So I can see I reached after insert, and then okay, so let's also add after find or create. Okay, and the result is definitely not, okay, so there's no error, and the result is definitely not what I expect it to be. Well, here we go. We have a document in Mongo, and we got it. So, okay, I don't know if create works. Doesn't matter for now. Obviously, it kind of worked because it created. I don't know if it works smoothly, if the next person to run the process will not get an error and will have to stop and start the process again. Works for now. Let's move on. And now there's a bit of a problem because in the front end, our list is only an array. And over here, we have to have an object. So we need to change the way the UI keeps stuff. So let's go over here And now, instead of having, let me try to scroll to increase the font. Yep, exactly. So, okay, great. So instead of having like scope lists here, we'll have to have like a board. But that kind of changes stuff, right? So I'm going to define like a board, and it's going to have a property list. Also going to have a property, it's going to be a string actually, of ID, just to make stuff clear. Okay, and so fine. So board is of type board. And okay, so it changes stuff. So how does it change stuff? Update the board. And where else do I have it? I have watch on board and board list. Okay, so now that's a good point. Now I need to check if scope board list new board lists empty array. Good. Now it should work. And this should work. That's fine. What else? Board data, right? Yep. And now let's change the view. So thank God it's only this. That's it. Right. Yep. Yep. Good. So hopefully, cross your fingers, we still have 20 minutes to find bugs and fix them. We will have persistency to Mongo. Yep. Okay, so let's remove some stuff. For example, this is data no longer needed. And this is body no longer needed. We have trust in these. You might be asking yourself at this point, if we already have a WebSocket, why am I still using post and get, right? Why not like create an API through the WebSocket? So I will send, please give me the board, and then I will send back the board on the WebSocket. It's an option. The reason I'm still using post and get is very simple. I want to have a REST API. Not all my clients will use WebSocket. I want people to be able to send post and get. And on the way, it's easier for me to send a post request on each and every change because I already have Express and middlewares, and I don't want to write them on top of a WebSocket. Actually, I would have used server sent events if Explorer or Edge would support them, but Explorer does not support server sent events, so I'm using WebSocket. But my first choice would have been server sent events. So Let's check. Connection after final create. Okay. So now we're supposed to have like a blank page, and I'm double clicking to have a list. Please work. Please work. Okay, let's check this out. It's always exciting, even if I write it. It didn't work. Even if I write it in the 100th time, it will be still exciting to see my code works. Use Trello live session. Show collections. DB boards find. So it didn't save. And obviously it didn't save. No one wrote on the chat, hey, you forgot to use update. That's a classic guy mistake. Okay, so now I'm facing a dilemma, right? Board, I want to have a board. When should I send the event? So I decided to do it here. As a naive implementation, not outside the callback. And actually, what I think we should do is actually have like a final create here. Because if we're truly talking collaborative work, then someone else changed the data. And I think update that doesn't give me the updated model back. I have to do another query to get it. So that's basically what we need to do, not for now, not for the next 15 minutes, but you should do it if you plan on extending the project. So we have an error and we have a result, and if right status and status error reason failed to update. Something like that. And otherwise, good. So now we should really update. Okay. Another thing that I mentioned but forgot to do. So the ID field cannot be changed. So what we should do over here is delete data ID. Okay. I probably have 3 tabs opening in the backend somewhere behind the scenes. Yep, that's 1. That's 2. And live reload works. And please save stuff. Did I stop and start the session? So we're using update, we're not using result. Let's not use it. And we have an emitter and we have send. So what's going on. So, okay, let's add after updating. Let's see if it works. We actually had 500 an error. What is going on? Why is it not doing anything? I don't know. Oh, great. Something is good. Okay, so after update and after updating. So no error, that's fine. And we have some kind of result, modified 0. Not sure that it's good. Why? We'll check it in a minute. Okay, so we don't need the result. It doesn't do anything. So we're just going to send the board as it is right now over here. And we're not updating for some reason. So let's check it out. Console log updating this. Let's see what is going on. Okay, so I probably forgot to return the ID. Nope. I probably forgot to do something. Let's debug. What are you stopping? I don't know. Okay. Undefined. Why are you undefined? That's a bit weird because, okay. Let's see. Okay. Scope board. Board, everything is fine over here. It's not the front end. Update board. Quest body. Nothing was supposed to change, but something changed. Okay. Seven minutes to go. We can continue after the 7 minutes. It's just me. setting a deadline like a good programmer. Okay, so we have a board, and it should have an ID. Did I underscore ID? Underscore ID? Yeah, I did. So the board has an ID. So what do you want from me? I have an ID, and I'm keeping the ID. Everything looks fine. So let's check it out. That ID should be fine. And you should return an object ID. Yep. So everything is fine so far. But oh, nope. What's going on? Wait. So okay. So something is sending something undefined. Okay, it's probably updating the list, right? Yep, I'm probably doing, okay, yeah, I got it. So what I'm doing is I'm watching the board before I initialized it, and it's not a good thing to do. Let's add watch after. Another thing I can do is send an update to the board only if it's not null. It's an option. I actually like that one more. So if not scope board, return, nothing to update. The board should be initialized. And if this project was more evolved, I'd probably have like a loader, and I couldn't add lists and tickets until it is initialized. So no harm. This assumption is fine. So now I should be seeing a more coherent behavior. Okay, so this is it. Yep. Okay, great. And should work. Yep. Still undefined. Okay, something is not working as expected. So let's console log update board. Let's have a look deeper inside. Let's run the server faster this way. Fuck. Okay, for some reason, we're getting an empty board at some point. I don't know, but for now, let's just do post if not board ID and rest send missing ID. Just status like this. Great, and let's return. Okay, so we're not watching. And I will check that out later. Nope, something is going horribly wrong. Codementor board data. So we're getting a new board and an empty board here. Why are we getting a new board? Empty one? Not sure. Okay, but we can definitely do, if not that ID, if we do have, let's keep it over here. For now, it's a workaround, but at least, okay, at least it should help us make things work. Yay! It's weird. I didn't get the same unstableness in the code in GitHub. Maybe it's because I wasn't pressured in doing it in 2 hours. But things work, and it's awesome. If I refresh it now, I still have the list, please. Yay. Right. And again. Don't reset. Okay. And if I stop and start the process, then it should work again. With the same board. Yep. And I think that's it for the session. You can ask questions again. Actually, I didn't delete the board. That's interesting. Maybe that's what caused the problem. Nope, doesn't seem that way. Never mind that. So that's it for the session. We added collaboration field to the app, and we added save to Mongo, and we did it in 2 hours from scratch. I only had to use my Plan B code once for telling the correct server to listen. And it's awesome because the amount of time it took me to write it when I prepared myself for the session was 2.5 hours, and the amount of time it took me to write the code for the post was about 2 hours for the functionality, I think, and 1 more for the styling. So it's awesome that in less than 10 hours of intensive work, we have a very nice Trello-like app. Trello just goes to show how simple Trello is on the one hand, and on the other, it's awesome. It works well. It does what it should do, and I simply love Trello. This entire post is like a tribute to those guys. Good work if you see this. And questions, please, about what we did right now with Mongo. Any request for doing something else, explaining stuff that you want that was not planned for the session, something that interests you that I perhaps can do in a couple of minutes? This is the time. Okay, so I guess if you want to ask me stuff after the session, you can do so. I think my email is somewhere online. If it's not, my email is guymogarbidi@gmail.com. Feel free to ask me. And I think the video is going to be published on YouTube, so you will be able to comment there and ask me there as well. And I guess this is the end of the session. So have a nice day.